Welcome to Cooking with Bae. I'm your host, Lindsay, also known as Animal-Based Bae. And today we are cooking slow-cooked short ribs. So when you think of short ribs, what do you think of? Do you think of barbecue sauce? Well, stop drowning your short ribs in barbecue sauce because it is full of seed oils, which can lead to oxidative stress, inflammation in the body, and this is what could cause heart disease. It's not the meat, it's these sneaky sauces that contain seed oils in them, as well as high fructose corn syrup and all other ingredients that really aren't that healthy for us. So stay tuned and I will show you how to make a delicious and flavorful short ribs recipe without the sludge. So here's what you will need. You will need short ribs. I have about 3 pounds here, so it depends on the type of family you're feeding or if you're feeding yourself or leftovers on end. I do 3 pounds because it is the gift that keeps on giving. Then, of course, salt. Then I have tallow just to coat the pan a little bit when I do a quick sear, as well as bone broth, which you'll need more than this, but I'm making homemade bone broth. It's actually back there, so super pumped to just dip it in real fresh. And then I have 2 other ingredients that adds the flavor, but I will show you later because that's a secret ingredient, so stay tuned. And also, while you're here, hit the subscribe and notification bell if you want more animal-based recipes. They drop every Thursday. So let's get started with our prep work. First, you'll set the oven to 250 degrees. That is if you're using the oven, okay? You can also use a slow cooker, which that obviously you can turn on once it's ready, but that's really the extent of our prep. Depending on your ribs now, if you get, these are kind of in long pieces, so I'm gonna take my ribs and I'm gonna cut them in half just because it's easier to sear. So what I'll do is I'll sear these on all sides to get a really nice sort of caramelized texture to them. And again, that's how, another secret of how you can really just add flavor to. So I also turn the stove top on because you're first gonna sear it before putting it in the oven. So let's go ahead over to the stove top. And so you want it probably about medium-high heat, depending on your stove. I plopped a little bit of tallow in here to coat the pan. Now I am using a cast iron sort of Dutch oven, which I'm going to actually use the oven to, or I wanna show you both ways. You can put it in the oven, or if you come over here, we have the 360 cookware. This is a slow cooker. Also, you can cook your ribs in that. You can sear it in this pot, same way that I'm gonna do that. It's just different pots, and then put it to the slow cooker when you're ready for the slow cooker. But let's sear it first. So, I'm going to take my ribs. I'm gonna use my hands because I like to use my hands. Plop it in there. And then this is how we're gonna get a nice sear on all sides. Okay, kind of scooching them in there, getting them real nice and snug. And the last bit there. So you see why I cut them so they kind of fit all at the bottom there. And then we'll just sort of give it a few minutes on each side, flip them, get them to the nice golden brown you want, and then we'll show you what to do after that. Okay, so it's starting to get that nice golden color here. You see that's kind of where you're gonna start to get that flavor, and on the bones here. Beautiful, you can flip them now. Having the bones for the short ribs too really offers a wonderful flavor. So if there's ever a chance to have bone in or boneless, always go for the bone, especially if you're not using crazy spices or seasonings. You don't need it, you just need meat with bones in them. Okay, lucky for me, I've got homemade bone broth happening right now, but take your bone broth and go ahead and dump that over your ribs. And what you'll do is add enough bone broth that will cover about up to half of your meat. And so basically then we'll keep that in there. We're gonna set our stove to medium high and just get it to start to boil. Then once it starts to boil, we will cover it, and then that is where we will put it either in the oven or the slow cooker. Great, so once it starts to boil, let's go ahead and cover that. And I'm gonna turn off the stove, of course. And then if you are using a Dutch oven that goes in the oven, go ahead and put this in the oven. It's at 250, sneak it back there, close it up, and go ahead and set your timer for 2 hours. And essentially I like to check in every 2 hours, though it might go 4 to 6, just because I really like my ribs super fall off the bone, amazing. And then you just check it. Now, to make this even easier is I typically start this right after I eat breakfast in the morning, so that way I toss it in and this is ready for me for dinner. So that's how you can make it really easy for you. Now, if you're using a slow cooker, same concept. You use the same pot that you seared your ribs in and go ahead and place it on the slow cooker. And same thing, check in about every 2 hours and the liquid should start evaporating and start to get down to a really more like an au jus sauce. So we don't want it to be completely dry, but we definitely want it to continue to reduce. Slow cooking serves as a reminder to slow down, allowing the flavors to settle, much like the deliberate pace of yoga and mindful animal movements. In a similar vein, we can focus on fostering flexibility, deeply nourishing our joints, and providing our souls with the delicious, slow-paced nutrition they crave. Okay, I told you that there was a secret ingredient to add some flavor, and that is orange and honey, but we'll add the honey last. So while that is in the oven or on your slow cooker, you're gonna go ahead and take 1 orange, chop it up, and essentially you're going to be pulling out the meat of the fruit, I guess that's what you'd say, and crushing it and getting some juice out of there. So you can kind of crush it any way you want. I am just going to start peeling it and placing it in a dish where I can crush it. So now that you've peeled your orange, honestly, you can crush it up any way you want, whether any sort of masher. I'm gonna go ahead and use my hands because I like that tool the best. I think it squeezes that juice out, and then it honestly, it's sort of this consistency where it's just, you kind of keep it like that, which is fine. You kind of want little chunks in there, like so. Just it's an interesting texture to have on there. It's really nice. Okay, so it's been about 4 hours that the ribs have been cooking, so I'm gonna go ahead and start adding the secret ingredients like I told you. I'm gonna add in some orange to a small sauce pot, and then I will go ahead and take the juices that have been slow cooking for hours on end. So this beef juices, I'm gonna go ahead and take that and drop it in 2 ladlefuls. And what we'll do is put the stovetop on a nice sort of temperature that's going to create a boil in this saucepan. So medium high. We'll wait till it boils and then we'll cover it and let it simmer for 10 minutes. Okay, so now this yummy secret sauce is boiling. So I'm going to turn it on low and I will pop a top on there and let this simmer for about 10 minutes. Okay, so the ribs are done. So I'm gonna pull it out of the oven. It's been about 4 hours. Okay. And then what I will do is I will take my sauce that I had simmering, all that flavor, and dump it in there like so. Here we go. And then you have the choice, okay? Mix it in there. Definitely keep it in for about, put it back in the oven for about 20 more minutes so that it soaks in all of that flavor. Or you could keep it in longer so it soaks in even more flavor. And then if you have enough discipline, you can even put it in the oven, have it soak in some flavor, then put it in a container, put it in the fridge, and then let it soak in overnight. But I'm not that patient. Also, I did forget to add, we want to add salt to it too. So I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle some salt in there, a couple of pinches, and then mix that in. When you have set your desired time to let these slow ribs cook, go ahead and pull it out of the oven when you're ready. Again, I recommend no less than 4 hours. So I'm gonna pull it out here. This is beautiful. And I mean, you know you did it right when the ribs just absolutely fall off the bone. Check it out in there, or when the meat falls off the bone rather. Look at this. This is, oh my gosh. Are you guys eating this through the camera? Because I am. So this is amazing. Look how clean these bones are. This is what slow cooking does. And all of this nutrition, bone marrow, taste, flavor is in your ribs. And then you don't need anything else. That is the beauty about this. So you do not need any barbecue sauce for ribs. Now I'm gonna go ahead and plate this. Okay, and it has that citrus infused orange in there. Super amazing. Oh my gosh. You know what's fun about these slow cooked dishes as well is, I mean, not only does it yield a lot for days, but when tis the season of ski season, which I like to hit the slopes, and when I make these, I put them in a thermos and take them with me on the slopes, and this is just like the best thing to have on the mountain. It's everything you wanted and more, really. Just sprinkle some salt on there. Again, this is all you need. The orange, the citrus does it. And then, like I said, the other secret ingredient is some honey, okay? So you drizzle some honey. So this is like a honey orange glaze. And this is really all you need. And I do honey at the end because I don't want to overheat honey, because then you take away all of its powerful, amazing benefits. So that is why I save it for the end. So that is my slow cooked short rib recipe. Bursting with flavor, simple ingredients. You don't need the barbecue sauce. You just need it to slow cook and have the meat do the work for you, and then add a little citrus and honey. So this is really good. I would love to share it with somebody. However, Troxy is not here today. She's at her friend's, but you bet I'm gonna put this away in a little Tupperware and save it for her so that she can enjoy later. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell, and come back and comment and tell me if you tried this recipe, or tell me if maybe you switched it up a little bit. I would love to hear it. And also you can tag me on Instagram at @animalbasedwithbae. I also have a holiday menu cookbook. Go check that out. I'll put the link down below so you can get a little bit more festive and creative with your recipes. Anyways, I'm going to enjoy this because this is just in front of my face and I need to indulge. So see you next week.